Yeah, absolutely. It's good to be here, Ryan. As always, I love commentating these races with you. We recently did a league race here in Saudi Arabia, me and you, and we had a good battle to the win. So we know how difficult this track is. We know how technical it is. You got to be on it. Make sure you don't get into those walls, especially in turn three wall that gets out like that. That's a place where Invade crashed not too long ago. So it's definitely going to be a bit of a interesting race today. Red Bull going for their, I believe, 14th constructors title, while Ferrari is going for their third. Absolutely. And it looks like we're going to have more racers than last week, which is good. We're not. Oh yeah, they only hear me. They don't hear you. I can hear it on the stream. That's really strange. Nope, still didn't hear you that time either. Throughout the streamer. Nope, still not fun.
Try to fix that.
Oh, I just heard you. I think you fixed it.
Hello?
Yeah, you're good.
There we go.
Yep, you're
That's
good.
so weird.
Yeah.
All right. So, if folks did not know, I was saying how, I figured out why that happened. That's my apologies, folks. What I was saying before, with Polish and I, we were saying how we raced here the other night, but also I was saying how we have a constructor's title to decide tonight, folks. Josh 433 has not been on a top car in a while. One of the last times he won in Baku, his only Tier 2 win, and his first Tier 2 podium came on a street circuit. Night Owl is the Tier 2 champion, and he's trying to go for most points in a single season, trying to break Jack Miles' record. And if he does that, he's going to need to finish 4th or better. He doesn't really care about the constructor's title so much. Red Bull have Reese, who's currently 2nd in the Drivers' Championship, and Torn Penguin in their cars. Torn Penguin won the last 2 street circuits. And yeah, five seasons ago, the last time we raced here in Polish, like I was saying prior, now that they can hear me, which really was definitely a weird one. I was saying earlier, folks, whatever it has been in the past here, whether it's chaotic races, chaotic finishes, whatever, we've had a lot of moments around here that have provided random podium finishers. Blue Gaggi got a podium here in the Haas, Lando Norris in the AlphaTauri back then, and also Owen McMoran in the Williams. So yeah, tonight's gonna be a bit of an interesting one regardless, whether it is in favor of Ferrari or in favor of Red Bull. But we definitely are in for quite the spectacle. In terms of our drivers and constructors, Night Owl won the championship. So Reese is 59 points back, but Penguin's 1 point back on him. A little battle brewing there for 2nd place still between the teammates. You said it, Polish. Red Bull trying to go for their 14th constructors title. Ferrari trying to go for their 3rd. 37 points is that difference. Because the lineup was not updated in time. Both the V-Carb drivers, they're going to have qualifying bans. In terms of our finales, though, in the past, we've had Brazil last season, where Alex Norris got pole for Haas, and we had Night Owl win for the 2nd time. Torn Penguin got taken out a few laps before the finish. We had Leo Fusion and Alex Norris get their first podiums. I mean, that was quite impressive to say the least. We had season 14 with Night Owl and George going to the line in Abu Dhabi. Night Owl lost in the steward's room though. And many times before, JTK was the dominant driver in the finale. However, one thing I need to note about this finale race, though, Polish, McLaren, although they've won a finale race, they've never had a finale pole in Tier 2.
Well, we'll see if that changes today. I think Biscuit and Fusion both have the pace to get on the pole. I'm pretty sure Fusion, correct me if I'm wrong, he does have a pole this season. Am I wrong?
Correct, but no McLaren has had a pole at the season finale, though.
Yeah, well, there's a first time for everything, as they say, right? We are just waiting for two drivers, JNT and Hyper, and it looks like Jack Miles, just like last week, is going to run that back Marker Williams team just for numbers, kind of like Leon did in Tier 3 yesterday, and I'm sure just like Tier 3 yesterday, he's probably just going to leave the Ferraris and the Red Bulls alone, let them fight out their constructors title. The Tier 3 gap yesterday was actually a little smaller than the gap is today. So Ferrari, they're going to need a fantastic performance. We're talking like 1-2, and then they're going to need the Red Bulls to run into some sort of trouble.
Yeah,
Because 37 points is definitely a gap.
Oh, I did not mean to invite Hyper to the party. I meant to invite you to the game, Hyper. Sorry about that. But yeah, Red Bull, they've been the dominant team time and time again in Tier 2. This season, they've had the gap for a while, but they've finally been able to pull the gap even further. I think last week, Ferrari kind of got away with the way things were with low attendance. This week, it's not as low, so they kind of have an advantage in some way. Because if there are DNFs, that is what Ferrari are hoping they can chime in on. That's for sure. Yesterday's race was won by Polish Hammer.
Yeah, who won that race, Ryan? Who are you?
Congratulations, Polish.
Who are
First
ya?
career win.
Get in there. First career win indeed.
Congrats, Polish.
I had a panic attack after the race, or almost one.
You deserve it. You're
Right.
going to
Yeah,
I
deserve my panic attack, definitely.
You deserve it. You're going to a new academy next season. It was this guy's last race with Ferrari Academy, so that's a way to go out with a bang. And it was the 40th Tier 3 race as well.
This is true. And who knows, maybe, I think Night Owl, obviously, he's going to be going for a podium today, or at least a P4. I wouldn't be surprised if Night Owl maybe gets another win. Maybe Ferrari could sweep the last weekend of F1 24 game cycle. Who knows?
Yeah, I believe last weekend with the way things were going, I know Red Bull would have wanted to do it. Ferrari had 2 of the 3 wins. Red Bull could have done it a few weeks prior with, I believe it was Reese winning in Imola, Devin winning the day before. Although they didn't sweep the weekend, it was George Williams' first podium that day. George, the coordinator, I of course hope he's all right. He's not the host tonight.
Yeah, speaking of George Williams, if you are out there, please tell us that you're okay. Because we're worried about you. You're dead. You just didn't say a single word today.
Yeah. Hey, I have days like that in the server where I don't want to say a word either, so it's okay.
Yeah, but it's different when you're the tier
happens.
coordinator.
Yes, and an admin.
But
We're heading into qualifying, by the way.
Yes.
Both V-Carbs have qualifying bands, like I said. We'll go over, at the start of qualifying, some final Tier 2 races. It is also the final race of this game cycle for this tier. And it's for every tier as well. But we will have off-season races to kind of kill time, with that being said. We've not raced this circuit in 5 seasons, so there's not a lot we can rely on besides, like you said, Polish, the race we did the other night, which will have a lot flint and steel, with that being said.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw a couple of retirements in that race that we did. One of them was actually from Tier 3 driver Invade. So, he got into turn 3, I think, a little too hot and just clipped that wall. And I feel like that's something that we see a lot at this circuit, Ryan, is that wall coming into play, especially that one right there.
And we've only had wet weather once around this circuit, by the way. That was back in Season 12 of F2. Don't think we'll see that tonight, but here we are in the qualifying. Let's go over our final races from drivers in Tier 2. Or just the whole grid as general, because why not? That'd be nice. Jackster, in the Haas. Isha in the Haas. They will be moving over to the Mercedes Academy next season for Williams. Josh 433 in the Ferrari, trying to salvage a constructor's title for them. Remember, he got a 11th place for Haas in Imola, and they still don't have a single point. Torn Penguin in the Red Bull. I believe he's going to stay there for next season. Hyper's in the Sauber. He's making it a one-off Tier 2 appearance this season. He's going to go back to Tier 3 for Haas next game. Zakaria in the V-Carb. He'll be staying there next season. Lyral Fusion in the McLaren. Timbed in the Mercedes on loan. Beatnik on loan. Beatnik, by the way, this is his last race before becoming a Tier 2 driver once again. El Mythic is coming late for a Williams appearance. Night Owl in the Ferrari. His last time before he becomes teammates with Reese Dainty. And there was a yellow flag back there. Wavy Knife in the Aston Martin. Reese Dainty's last race with Red Bull. This is kind of the car he's been famously associated with. And Zakaria has disqualified himself because he had the qualifying ban. So instead of choosing to retire, he, I think, chose the better route, in fact, by making sure he starts last instead of, well, if anyone crashes out, he's, not ahead of anybody.
Fair enough.
Rolling in the Alpine. Blonde in the Aston Martin. Blonde might be on loan, I could be wrong. AR Biscuit in the McLaren. Bar 2K in the Sauber. Jack Miles reserving in the Williams. He will be disqualified afterwards. One thing I do want to talk about...
I was going to say real quick, Cryptic from Tier 1 is also going to be in this race. He's going to be in the Alpine, but he also will be getting disqualified. And then the other Aston... Or sorry, not the other Aston, the other car, I don't know what car it is. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's going to be occupied by Mythic. And actually, he's in the Williams. Right there. But he will be classified. He does have a quality ban, though.
One thing I did notice in terms of a race here on Wednesday night we had, even if you were in a small DRS train, you could get away with braking very early if you were at the very back of it. And I'll tell you right now, with how much ERS burns here, a lot of drivers are going to desperately need that as we start our first flying laps.
First flying lap coming from Hyper in the Sauber. Speaking of Sauber, Bar 2, who was in the Ferrari last week, wanted his chance in the Ferrari. He got it, and a bit of a interesting start, if you will. It wasn't really all his fault. He did get disconnected from the session, but voted to Sauber for this week. We'll see if he can maybe do better in that equipment.
So, turn 4, he just went through where he didn't clip a wall, but the S's, it's kind of easy to do so, and Hyper right on the curb and got stuck on it, meaning he's going to back off of that lap. We'll switch to Josh 433 or Penguin. Either one worked, though. If you're going to go into medium, I think that's going to be one of the only sections you do so. The first turn right there and this S section. But you watch Josh 433 complete it. 32-1 in that first sector. Now to the bank hairpin. You can go a variety of lines here, but you also got to be very careful. That wall, he just nudges it. He'll get away with it. Remember, he's in a train of cars. He's got a Mercedes in front of him that's either Timbed or Beatnik. The car that's behind him is either Fusion or Biscuit. But again, very close to each other. Definitely nip and tuck in that area. We had a collision in Tier 3 qualifying yesterday with Timbed, Bezestio, and Max because, obviously both McLarens were towing each other. Oh. And Max was just too slow on that lap. So that's why we had a collision. Luckily, the cars in front of Josh were not too slow, but the problem for Josh is this Sauber is Hyper trying to get out of the way, maybe. Giving a little slipstream in the process wasn't really worthy to do so because it didn't help him a whole lot. However, he'll get to the line with no issue. Overtake on, and our first lap will be complete.
I can't tell if Hyper maybe got in the way of Timbed on that lap. Timbed lost a lot of time on that lap, and he was going through the Sector 3 corner right there. Oh.
It was both Haas drivers almost going into one another.
That would have been bad, but a couple of laps going through. Torn Penguin goes to the top of the board with Red Bull, 127.4. Lyral Fusion right 4/10 behind in second, with Josh right behind him in third, Night Owl fourth, and then the two Mercedes in the back so far. And that's some...
AR Biscuit only has had one F2 podium Polish. He's crossing the line now.
Absolutely. He's coming across the line, dumping the rest of that battery he has, and he's going to go P6, splitting the Mercedes, 128.1. You have to think there's a little more time in that lap. Both Haas's coming through to start laps, as well as the Williams, Jack Miles behind them.
You were gonna say something before I cut you off there with Biscuit,
Uh,
I think?
no, it wasn't about Biscuit. It was about actually Hyper, as we had Bar 2 go with a 129.2 in the Sauber. I was going to talk about Hyper clipping that curb. That's something we haven't talked about yet, Ryan, is that curb. In that section right there, it's very easy to get caught up on that curb, and if you do, you're going to lose an easy second or two.
I think I did it once on Wednesday night, and I think you did as well.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so easy to do so, and I think that is one, like we said, turn 4, the corner you call turn 3, is one that's going to be a bit tricky and treacherous. Reese Dainty's getting a little help from teammate Torn Penguin, I believe this is. Torn Penguin, the fastest driver on the track right now. And Penguin will continue to help Reese here, maybe. Nope, Penguin gets out of the way. Reese Dainty will cross the line. And obviously, with this situation for Reese, it's his last Red Bull race. He would love to go out with a bang. He'll go second fastest. Red Bull 1-2, Ferrari 4-5. That is where our top 2 in the Constructors' Championship sit right now. Blonde is invalidated, so we're looking now at Rolly, one of the next drivers to cross the line. We'll switch to him in a few moments again while we look at Jackster. Another one-off appearance from a driver in Tier 2 this season. He'll cross, and he'll be behind Bar 2. Jackster has one P11 finish to his name this season, and that is tied with Haas's best finish this season. Sauber got their first points last week. Maddie, Bar 2, and Leon got their first points of the season. 2 of those 3 were their first ever Tier 2 points. We're looking now at Rolly since Isha invalidated.
Rolly in the Alpine goes P11 in the back. I just want to mention Cryptic. Obviously, Tier 1 driver, going to be DSQ'd after this. Oh, nope, and as soon as I was going to mention how good of a lap he was on, he invalidates. So, never mind. Thank you, Cryptic, for making me look like a dummy. Try to see who else is on a lap right now. Isha invalidated his first lap, so he went on for a second run. Trying to look to see if he can get, maybe nestle himself inside that top 10.
It's nice to see former champion Blonde also in the field as well. Blonde, he is a driver who won the Season 6 Tier 2 title. And he also raced drivers like Reese, Jack, George, Owen back in their day. Blonde had a little wiggle wobble, but he's going to continue on this lap. And like I was saying, Polish, the ERS around here, it just depletes itself so easily. Look at his battery already before turn 22.
Yeah, the ERS loves to deplete itself so easily here. You have to spend a lot of these corners in none or in medium to even try to like save anything, and you don't really deploy it that much around this circuit. The only time you really deploy it around the circuit is coming to a line right here and starting a lap. As you see Blonde deploying everything he has left, all the deploy used, comes across the line, P8.
I think he took that last corner a little cautious, but we'll keep an eye out on that if he does improve there. AR Biscuit, the only driver inside that top 8 on an outlap on the track trying to improve. We see Hyper going through turn 4 right now. And this section is interesting because even besides the curb you could get stuck on, you don't want to ride this inside curb as well. It's so easy to touch the wall right there. This curb, easy to get stuck on, easy to lose it. Schumacher did in real life. I mean, you got the outside part as well. Easy to get off the track there and get a track limit warning. But Hyper has crossed the first sector, and he's still going on this lap, but he loses the rear right there. Still kept it going, and I think it's a good idea to still keep it going, even with a small mistake like that, because in this sense, you at least want to get a lap in, though, before your final lap. Knowing the situation he's in for Kick Sauber, you just want to maybe add on to their points tally, and also give yourself some good momentum heading into Tier 2 next season, or sorry, Tier 3 next season it will be for him. In Tier 2 last season, Hyper didn't have the best of races in Brazil. He was lapped, and also, if you remember last season's race in Brazil, him and Woda, both Sauber drivers, injured themselves mid-race.
Absolutely. Sauber looking for more points on the season. They have a decent amount of points for their standards, obviously being the back market team. They have 4, which is fine. Hyper coming across the line. Don't invalidate. That's very close. P11 in front of the Haas of Jacksta. And the Haas's have had a...
Oh, out, crash.
Bar
2, incident into the turn 4 wall. And turn 4 has claimed its first victim of the night.
and we were talking about it a little bit on in the pre-race. Ryan, turn 4. I said it was turn 3. It counts as turn 3 to me. One of those turns isn't even a turn to me, but it is technically turn 4. But yeah, so turn 4, claiming its first victim already, the Sauber of Bar 2. But what I was talking about earlier was Haas has had a bad Tier 2 season in terms of points scored. Like Tier 1 they've done good, Tier 3 they've done good on points scored. Tier 2 they don't have a single point yet.
Lyra Fusion, good save! Holy cow!
I missed it.
Yeah, for Haas's sake, though, Polish, Lyra Fusion's backed off, but for Haas's sake, their downfall came as soon as Alex Norris got moved up. If he didn't, Alex Norris would have gave them a hell of a points tally. Beatnik's up on the time by 2/10 there in Sector 1.
Beatnik up 2/10. Obviously, Beatnik a... would he classify as a Tier 3 or Tier 2 driver? He drives both of them like every week.
He does do both, and he has been on loan quite a bit this season. On loan tonight in that Mercedes for the second time this season. Yeah, he's a full-time Tier 3 driver, but next season he'll be in this car alongside Mintoki. And he could have got a podium in Japan, but bended on that final lap. However, last week was that first podium of the season and return podium for Tier 2. And for his standards, that was a good sight to see. He felt like he was keeping up with Penguin, Night Owl, Lyra Fusion as well in terms of the pace, even though Lyra Fusion was off in the distance. That was good for Beatnik, especially to prove that he was worthy of this Tier 2 return when he signed that contract. Now he's up by 3/10 and could split third and fourth placer here, Fusion and Josh. Beatnik goes 5th, just behind the pair of them. Josh 4.33 is up in the time, and although he's not made a lot of starts this season, Ferrari are relying on him very desperately tonight. He's up by 2.5 tenths, and this lap could set him on the front row.
Absolutely. Josh is playing a bit of that role that I played last night in Tier 3. You got that, you get the chance to drive Ferrari, and they really need you to back them and get a good points finish, and that's all you can really do. You just got to do your best race as Josh comes to the line, going to dump every inch of battery he has left, and this is looking like a great time. 126.6, or sorry, 127.6, I apologize. So not too far behind Penguin and Reese Dainty.
Lost time in the last sector. Lyra Fusion invalidates. Wavy Knife is going to cross the line. He's not made a lot of starts this season, but he returned to the points little ways into the season. Took him a little bit. Wavy Knife back. Mercedes team principal for the last time this season. He goes 10th fastest. Rolly's on a lap. Well, let's see. Cryptic will be just cute after he's on a lap. Jack Miles, same with him on a lap. But we're looking now at Poleman, Torn Penguin. And I feel like if we're going to talk about this guy's season, it has to be what-if situations for the championship. If he didn't start off so bad with the way he started the season, he could have had a shot at the title, but he just went off right there and validated the lap time. Yeah, he didn't have the best of starts, but he kept going and got that win in Miami when Night Owl and Reese had their moments. Reese went to the pit lane for a wrong strategy call. Night Owl disconnected. Then Penguin backed it up with another win after that, and that was a win at our other street circuit race not far after for Torn Penguin. Trying to remember what race that was now. I have it in the back of my mind. Baku. He won Baku.
Yes.
But speaking of Baku, that was definitely a race Reese does not want to remember because the Ferrari Academy with Isha, they played games to him and got to his head, and that just didn't help Reese out here. And Reese, luckily, had the Alpine get out of his way right there. For Reese Dainty, it's definitely a what-if situation for him this season. He's going fastest in the first sector. It's races like probably Japan where he could look at things and say, I recovered well, I didn't deserve to be up there. But it's races like Zandvoort and Baku where you look at things and say, that is where the championship came apart for me. But it's wins like Imola in Portugal, the reason why he could have had a shot at the title, and he kept himself in this race for so long.
Absolutely, and you see Reese Dainty going through that fast second three corner, and he is up a full 10th. But look at that battery; he's in the teens now, and that might cost him a little bit of time on this lap, as he barely has any ERS left for that last straightaway right there. Coming around the final corner, Reese Dainty going to dump everything he has left. We're going to see if he can go ahead of his teammate Torn Penguin, and it looks like he is 2/10 faster than Torn Penguin, almost 3/10 faster than Torn Penguin. Great lap there from Reese.
That is a monstrous final sector, by the way. Holy cow. He improved a ton.
Yeah, he did. He was only a tenth up after sector 2, so it means he gained about 3/10 in that last sector alone. Fantastic third sector from Reese Dainty.
Look at all these cars coming up for what could be their final runs here. Some trying to play the slipstream game. Lyral Fusion in the train, Biscuit in the train, Timbed following suit. Remember, although he's on loan, he does not have to abide by the Merc Academy rules. And this Academy, McLaren/Alpine Academy, it's their final race. And they will be with the Mercedes pair next game, next season. Timbed on loan from McLaren/Alpine Academy starts his final flying lap with Biscuit and Fusion. Biscuit leads the queue, Fusion in second, and Timbed in third in this train. They'll tow each other along the circuit and try to find some time. We're going to ride on board with Biscuit, who does turn 1, 2, 3 just fine. But now we go through turn 4, the tricky trouble spot. Yellow flag, that is Zakaria logging out and something else going on. But we're looking at Biscuit, trying to ride these curbs little by little without touching the wall. He did touch the wall, but he got away with it.
Fusion validates.
Luckily, though, he's still going to have to tag along Biscuit.
Fusion validated right there.
There you go. So he'll hopefully know that and know that although Biscuit is improving, he will have to find a way here after this lap is over to still give Fusion that tow that will help him out here. Biscuit, although he tapped the wall there in the first sector, he still is improving. Now that corner, you just got to send it right in there. Find a way to get through it, and then get to this third sector, hopefully up on the time, because it can make a difference. If you do this section wrong on the straight, you can lose up to 200s. He's done it right. He's finding time. And look at him, just change gears and just send it through the corner
Alpine in front
to
of him.
sector 3. He'll get a big tow from the Alpine.
Going to get a big tow from the Alpine right here. This is going to gain a lot of time here, and he's going to have a lot of ERS to dump in this last sector. This could be a monster lap from Biscuit right here. Coming around the final corner.
To the line. Biscuit. He's never had pole, but last week he had a good qualifying. Can he back it up once again and have another good one? To the line! McLaren are sixth with Biscuit. Fusion, we're relying on him to get McLaren their only pole in a season finale, which could happen tonight and could happen right now. Timbed, he crossed the line to complete a lap. He only found a little bit of time. He's just going to stay 8th place. We're watching Night Owl, champion of Tier 2, cross the sector split up by 2/10. And he'll need a lap desperately, because if he doesn't get the lap in, he's only going to be a best of 7th, and that checkered flag is about to go out. Will everyone get to the line in time? That will become the question. Everyone has, but Lyral Fusion's invalidated again. So 20 seasons of racing in Tier 2 now mean McLaren still do not have a season finale pole. Torn Penguin trying to match Reese Dainty there in the first sector. He couldn't. 3,000s down. We're looking at the other drivers crossing. Night Owl is up by 3.5 in that second sector.
Big.
Look at him just launch that car into there.
Oh my God. Josh was already off a 10th of his time, but Jack Miles' disqualified car was literally in the middle of the track, and Josh loses 2/10 because of it. It was literally sideways in the middle of the track, and Josh had to swerve to avoid him.
Night Owl crossing the line for one final time and qualifying this season. He'll go 4th. So Ferrari back up Red Bull's performance by going 3 and 4. Torn Penguin's finding time, and he's trying to get a pole. Is he going to do it now becomes the question. Torn Penguin crossing the line now in his career. He's had 2 poles in Tier 2. Can he get a 3rd? And his first of the season. Torn Penguin misses out. Beatnik is up next. And he's probably the only one who could dispatch Reese Dainty here, who became the all-time pole sitter in Imola, and Red Bull looking for their 100th pole in the tier. Beatnik crossing, and
Fifth.
Red Bull have done it. Red Bull with their 100th pole in Tier 2. They had this happen in Tier 1 not too long ago, and now they've had it happen in Tier 2 as well. Reese Dainty ends off his Red Bull stint with a final pole position, and it is Reese's 13th pole. Lucky 13 going in Red Bull's favor as they try to win the Constructors' Championship, qualifying 1-2.
That was a fantastic qualifying session. Last qualifying session of Tier 2 for this game cycle, and look who's the top 4. The 4 that are going for the Tier 2 Constructors' Championship. This should be a fun race to watch.
Look at where all these cars are. Red Bull 1-2, Penguin in second. Josh out qualifying the first driver there on his return to Ferrari, 3-4. Beatnik in 5th. Not bad. They're out qualifying both McLarens. Lyral Fusion and Biscuit. Blonde down in 8th. Out qualifying Timbet and Wavy. Bar 2, ahead of a few drivers here. Rolly down there. Hyper, Jackster, Isha, the lowest of the Turkish drivers. And not qualifying Mythic, Zach, and Jack. For Zakaria, obviously, he got the qualifying ban from not being in the lineups on time, so he'll get that figured out now with backing it up in the race. So, let's see. Race time now, and this is expected to be, I believe, medium hard, or hard medium. Regardless, though, 25 laps. Polish Hammer, we do not have a timer yet, but what are you thinking is going to happen for this race tonight and our start?
I feel like a broken record every time I say it, but pretty much the same thing that you see every week as far as turn 1 chaos goes, lap 1 chaos. I'm expecting the Red Bulls and Ferraris to get a decent jump on the rest of the field. It seems like they have a lot of pace here, and it's going to be a battle for the mid-pack, I believe. The times were pretty close in the mid-pack, so I think it's going to be an interesting race to see how it all plays out.
We've had trouble here in the first sector time and time again. I remember one race here recently in Tier 2. We had turn 4, turn 5 calamity. That's where it ended up instead of turn 1, 2, and 3. We've had Restain T go off in turn 1 once before. We also had a race where there was massive wing damage in a turn 4 with a car going out. Less than 25 seconds to go, but it's the last Tier 2 race of this game cycle. What do you think some drivers are expecting here for their one final time in F124?
I think they're just ready to get this game over with, I'll be honest. I've heard a lot of people in Mercedes chats and Ferrari's chats, they seem to be done with this game already. Like Mentoki, she already deleted the game. But 5 red lights on in Saudi Arabia.
For one final time, they'll put pedal to the metal, and it is go, go, go. For one final time in Tier 2 on F124, Penguin doesn't get to launch that Reese does. He'll be side by side with the Ferrari, and Josh prevails. Penguin slid the rears, and that affected him. Contact for 5th. You see a lot of cars ghosting inside one another, whether it's at the front or the back. Penguin moving around behind there, and there's contact in turn 4. Biscuit all out of shape. He got a tap, and he went off. Biscuit re-enters right in the path of the whole field right there. Down out of the points now. And look at who's in the points. Hyper. But he's got damage. Major damage. He hit the back of the Mercedes at Beatnik. And he goes off and re-enters right in the path of his teammates.
Crash.
And collision. Hyper's off. And he has a lot of damage.
He has a lot of damage. He is missing both end plates on that Sauber. We've got more battling. Isha going through on Zakaria. There's a lot of contact back there.
Isha's not being very nice to Zakaria. More wheel banging. Zakaria forces Isha off the road. Isha gets the place, and Zakaria is a massive tank slapper on corner exit. Back at the front of our field, Blonde has got 5th, and Lyral Fusion wants the place back. With DRS being activated next time by, Blonde has lost DRS and touch with the top 4, so Lyral Fusion now goes by.
Isha gets a 10-second for that move on Zakaria, back at 16th place, but absolutely deserved. And just what I mentioned in the previous, it looks like the big slide from Torn Penguin there. It looks like the top 4s. We have a caution, and it's Hyper again in Sector 2. Or Sector 3, if you will.
Up there inside the fringes of the points with Jackster in 10th. Haas don't have a point this season. They would love that. Both Mercedes swap, both them on loan. Beatnik gets 7th, Timbed back to 8th. And this train goes all the way back to 15th, but that whole lap 1 was just mixing and matching it up right there for our places. Calamity with drivers like Biscuit and Hyper. Hyper, moments ago, of course, was that yellow flag. He'll go into the pit lane, assuming he'll repair that damage. But our top 6 have broke away, and Jackster gets a straight 3-second for corner cutting. Rolly had some warnings prior. He'll get a 3-second as well, but 3 penalties already, and 2 of them are with Haas drivers.
I just want to mention the tire situation real quick. Night Owl and Reese both on hards. Josh Torn Penguin, and keep an eye on Lyral Fusion. He has caught this this train here for 4th. Lyral Fusion showed a lot of pace in Brazil. Obviously, that 10-second pretty much killed any hope he had of winning, but he would have won that race without 10 seconds. So keep an eye on Lyra Fusion. I know we're talking about these constructor standings, but Fusion has a good chance to possibly get a podium or a win here.
And remember, although there's corner cutting penalty for Cryptic goes in to effect, Penguin now on the move here with Josh around the outside, the long way around. Josh is gonna squeeze him. Penguin was gonna choose to keep his nose in there, and we're gonna be wheel to wheel down the main straight. Penguin in the slipstream of Reese, and he'll go for 2 for 1. Reese Dainty vulnerable. Penguin leads the Grand Prix, and now Josh wants to give his taste on things. To the inside, contact! Ferrari and Red Bull cars have come together. Reese goes off the road. Luckily, both them still in this race, but Reese has maintained the place. Now, does he deserve to keep that place? He'll give it up there as he was off the circuit. Reese Dainty back to 3rd, but they've both lost DRS there to Torn Penguin. Torn Penguin can just breeze away at this. And Josh got stuck on the curb. Josh will have to go off. He ranners behind Reese Dainty once again.
And all this battling has left Blonde as we have another caution, and it's Hyper again. It looks like Sector 3. All this battling has let these guys like Blonde, like Beatnik, like Timbed, Connor, AR Biscuit, they are all right there. There's a little DRS train all the way back to about 13th place right now, besides Torn Penguin.
Night Owl, who went by Josh moments ago, smacked the wall. And with this battling behind Torn Penguin, 2.4 seconds is the deficit this time. Lyra Fusion is getting dicey and luckily got the move done here before where they all crashed in the sim racing series with Thomas Ronhart and basically everybody. Lyra Fusion is now in a Ferrari sandwich. Night Owl's going through on Reese. This is their last time before they become teammates. Night Owl through.
Lyra Fusion looks like he wanted to take a look at Reese Dainty too, but he thought better of it. As we're going through the final straightaway, Torn Penguin has a 2.4 second gap on the rest of the field, but look at this DRS train behind him.
This is the only thing that is going to salvage Ferrari's hopes. Being in this DRS train, as long as they don't fight, they can catch the cars in front, which is Torn Penguin. Lyra Fusion with a little up and under maneuver. He's looking to get the place over Reese Dainty. He does. Reese Dainty went from 1st to 4th there and might lose another one. Josh hit the inside wall and got away with it, but got a penalty for good measure. Hyper with 1-2. Hyper's out. That's our first DNF, and that's also our first safety car of the event. The drivers who started on the medium compound will be loving this. Blonde up 2, Fusion up 3, Night Owl up 2, 7 for Jack, 3 for Cryptic, 3 for Jackster, and of course, Biscuit! Biscuit's off, into the wall, major damage to the McLaren. So that's now our biggest loser, but drivers like Blonde, Reese, and Night Owl, they will be compromised by this safety car.
Yeah, if you're Torn Penguin, if you're, Connor with a 10-second for ignoring yellow flags. Wonder if that had anything to do with Biscuit going off. That's interesting. We'll have to see how that happens. But if you're Torn Penguin, if you're Lyra Fusion, if you're Josh, you are loving the safety car right now. Maybe not Torn Penguin because he had a 2.3 second lead, but definitely Fusion and Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I think we learned this on Wednesday Night Polish. There's no point in starting on the hards because the chance for an early safety car around the circuit is immense. Isha's lagged out.
That's like the 4th time this race already. But that sucks. Hyper had a really good start. He was up to like a 9th before?
Yeah.
Like about 9th, and just it all fell apart. We're looking at other people.
Penguin is staying out here.
Interesting.
Fusion,
Josh
is in. Beatnik, Timbed, Wavy, Biscuit, Jackster, yeah, Cryptic, Bartu.
Everyone but Zakaria, because he's on hards, obviously. So Zakaria goes from about 16th to 5th. What a legend.
It's basically standing in line at an ice cream shop is what this looks like with 6th on back. However, I'm very surprised that Torn Penguin did not pit right there.
I'm pretty surprised as well. I thought he would have definitely pit there. But going through our biggest movers of the race, obviously Zakaria is it's a bit meh because he just gained like about 13 positions on pit road, but he's currently our biggest mover. Jack Miles up 10. Jack Miles was up about 6 before that safety car, so he had a good start. People that didn't have a good start, obviously Hyper down 6, Connor's down 6, Biscuit's down 7, so a lot of movement in this race so far. Everyone was Fusion.
The one thing that should be mentioned about some people like Timbed Also, both Alpines, the double stack did have an effect on some people who pitted right there. And Torn Penguin, he didn't need to stay out to avoid a double stack, though. Reese Dainty was on hards, Penguin on mediums, so there's a difference right there, folks.
We're going to see if Torn Penguin decides to come in. Do you think he decides to come in, or do you think he just...
I don't think there's any way you can, because at this stage, if you come in, you're falling to...
pretty much last.
17th.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a shame, because if that was an error on his part, then it's going to cost him. I mean, he's going to be in the same boat Night Owl, Reese, Blonde, and Zakaria are in, but the difference is, though, they will pit around the same time. Torn Penguin has to pit earlier than them. I mean, he doesn't have to, but he realistically should for the sake of the tires that he's on. And let's see.
He should.
Does he come in this time or not?
I don't think he will, but we will see here. It doesn't appear like he's going to, so he's going to stick it out on those mediums. Weird. Everyone behind him on hards. This should be interesting. I'm curious to see how this is going to work. If there's another safety car, this will work out in Penguin's favor, I would think.
Well, I mean, it has to be what he's betting on. You can't go from medium to medium.
No.
The guys on hards could go hard medium, of course, so they're having to bet on a safety car at this stage for the sake of their race. And I must say with Jeddah, we've had a lot of races where drivers have fought through the pack. Even just ask Minico, even though it wasn't his race in Tier 1 here when he went flying in the air, he was still fighting through the pack after 2 different crashes. One with Josh, one with Jack. And not the 433 Josh, the Josh H. Josh.
Other Josh.
Yes, I know. That's why I call him Josh H. And, well, people say just call him Josh. Well, there's Josh 433.
Or call him, what was that?
Who was not the first Josh.
What was that name he wanted you to call him? Dequavius? Something like that? Decadius? I don't
Giuseppe?
know. Giuseppe? I don't know.
That too. There was 2 of them. I know. The different names people come up with are kind of funny. But anyway, Wavy said he got a 10-second while he was NAI, so that's why he was quite frustrated with how things were. So, of course, you know, although he would have double stacked with Blonde if Blonde came in, he is at the back of this field in 16th because of serving that 10-second. And I believe Isha had to serve that 10-second
and he's
as well.
lagged out again.
But lagged out again. There you go. I believe there was no chance to take control of the car as well from what I heard. So we'll see what happens there. I believe the safety car will enter the pits this time. Folks, if you're in the Twitch chat, any of the 12 watching, give us a prediction. Let us know what you think will happen for the remainder of this race. We are only on lap 6, and still chaos can erupt at any moment. It's Jeddah. It's Saudi Arabia. You just never know if you have a right to have it go in your favor or not. Safety car in this lap.
Safety car is in this lap, and we're going to see how this works out. Penguin obviously on the older but better tire than Night Owl and Reese and Blonde, Zakaria. The first person on those fresh tires is going to be Lyro Fusion in 6th. So we're going to see how this works out.
Safety car in the pits. We'll see when Torn Penguin chooses to bolt. It looks like he's getting ready, and here we go. Torn Penguin tried to go and then backed off because the safety car was not yet in the pit lane. Back to green flag racing, and we'll see if Night Owl, who has a lot of momentum in a turn 1, will yield. He'll have to. No place gained or lost there. Wavy Knife, though, on the back of Rolly. He's looking to gain a place and make Rolly lose one. However, it's not going to be late on the brakes, but Rolly goes deep, misses the corner, re-enters, and it's going to have to be behind Wavy. Wavy Knife does get the place. He's up to 15th after his misfortune with the 10-second in AI mode.
Looking through at the front of the field here, the guys on fresher tires have not really made any ground yet. We're still looking at the same top 5s we did under safety car. Torn Penguin going out to a decent lead so far. Night Owl in 2nd. His team, Torn Penguin's teammate Reese Dainty all over the back of Night Owl right here.
Bar 2 loses a place, down 1. That is on AR Biscuit. However, you got to wonder with Lyro Fusion being in 6th place, if these top 4 do not get the chance to do what they have a chance to do with getting a safety car, technically Lyro Fusion is our net leader. And this would be a similar situation to what happened with Torn Penguin in Baku. But we're going through turn 22 now with Torn Penguin, the leader. Night Owl, 6/10 back, and Reese Dainty also 6/10 adrift as well, who's keeping Blonde at bay and Zakaria at bay. Penalties being handed out. TSR Cryptic was our latest one.
TSR Cryptic, the first person in the penalty box with 6 seconds in penalties. I should say, first person with 6 warnings, I should say. But here we go. on the front straightaway. DRS is going to be enabled now. We're going to see if this is when we're going to start to see movement here.
Here
Look
we
at
go.
this.
Lyral Fusion's getting a little dicey into the corner, trying to match it out with Zakaria, but he smacks the rear of him and lost control. Somehow he remains straight, but again, no place lost, no place gained. I think that's the best scenario for both parties.
That was a great save. From my angle, it looked like Zakaria just didn't give him any room. But I'm not.
Lyral Fusion was also going for a big dive too.
He was. You know, I'm not a steward. I don't know what I'm talking about. But Wavy Knife still going through as we have a caution, and it is the other Sauber of Bar 2. Sauber not having a good race today.
No, not at all. Both their cars, 18th and 19th, one still in this race, one with major damage to the end plate, and gonna have to get that damage repaired once again. Either way, Jack Miles, who will be DQ'd after the race, maybe gonna help out here.
Here we go.
Give us some action.
Here we go. It's the first time we have DRS enabled Night Owl, and we're going to go to the Sector 3 straightaway right here. This is going to be an interesting thing. Does Night Owl try to take this move away from Torn Penguin? He is in hot lap, so we're going to see. It looks like he might want to make the move here.
Red Bull have had 4 wins this season, same with Ferrari. Red Bull have one less second place finish and one less third place finish than Ferrari. But it's the results beside that have got them in front of Ferrari in the constructors' standings. And right now, you'll see what these results do when we see the lead change. Night Owl takes over at the point. He's our leader on lap 9.
We got 3 abreast in the back.
Still, though. And we are having aggressive action, as you were just about to note on. Cryptic, Biscuit, Jackster. That's the 3-horse race right here. 3 cars under a blanket. Biscuit got the place. Cryptic now trying to maintain it into turn 4 on Jackster. And they're going to go side by side here, but Jackster backs out. Jackster tried to back out while Cryptic also did, and Cryptic racing Jackster here. I don't think you really want to see this kind of situation. However, with both having penalties, Timbed might have a good advantage. But Lyral Fusion, our net leader, technically lagging out.
That's not good. And there goes Josh. There goes Beatnik.
Trying to go around the outside, but can't do it. And look at this. He's just a sitting duck. Lyral Fusion. So heartbreaking.
So
honestly.
heartbreaking.
Remember the 10-second in Brazil we felt bad for?
Yep.
Remember in Zandvoort when he had a chance at the victory? It's situations like these that you just have to feel bad for the guy for.
It's insanity how unlucky this guy has been. He definitely could have had a win this week and last week, and it looks like both of them are going to go up in smoke right here unless we get another safety car. And he has joined back,
luckily, but he's already lost the time. Biscuit as well went off the track, had to give the
Penguin
place back. And there you go. Torn Penguin is on the move, going around the outside, the long way around. He'll retake the lead here into the final corner. Turn 27. Now look at where that DRS is. They changed it compared to last game. And that DRS is after that corner instead of before the corner. So Night Owl gets it back and repays the favor. Reese Dainty follows suit. And look at this all from Blonde's point of view. He can just break so early behind this train. Night Owl, Reese, Penguin. That's the order at the front. Josh 433 is taking the place over Zakaria, and Cryptic gets the final point as Lyral Fusion tries to join back, and I think he just is taking control of that car.
He's just taking control of that car. He is technically still in the points.
Whoa!
Oh.
Look at Jackster made a mistake behind Fusion. Here comes Timbed. Timbed pinching. Contact. Collision.
Contact.
Luckily, they kept it going, and I don't know how. Timbed should have been off and out of this race from that. Unbelievable.
I cannot believe Timbed is still in this race. He absolutely pancaked the left side of that car.
Yeah, I mean, does he even have damage?
Lyral
Fusion with Biscuit. Biscuit off. Biscuit off in front of Lyral Fusion while racing Jackster.
Fusion's left again.
Lag out again.
Wow.
Another disconnect for Fusion.
We're looking at possibly both McLarens not getting points in this race as things stand.
And that is just treacherous.
We were talking
on loan passes.
Cryptic gets another penalty. We were talking about it actually in RPL recaps that McLaren have not had a good season up to their standards this year, and it's just continuing.
And
this
not
race.
just tier 2, tier 3 as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just continuing in this race. But look at this, Reese Dainty go for the lead.
Here we go.
Night Owl looks like
regaining the lead.
I was gonna say Torn Penguin looked he wanted to go for second, but he thought better of it.
Jack Miles with a little lunge, bangs into the side of Zakaria, but all is good and well. Timbed now fighting with Jackster. Timbed going defensive. Jackster pushes his nose in there, and Jackster gets the place. 10th place for Jackster, and Biscuit gets a penalty. Now another driver has disconnected. That is bar 2. Mythic and Isha having a little ding-dong battle here for 16th. Mythic gets the upper edge there, and Little Fusion falls yet another place down the order. 14th for the reigning Tier 3 champion from last season. It's just such a shame. It really is. I think in this scenario, he is where Josh would be. Net leader, if we don't get a safety car, in pursuit to win the race. It's just a very unfortunate circumstance.
Absolutely.
But you know what? We got to keep an eye on the front of this field.
Absolutely. And don't look now, but look who's caught them. Josh is all over the back bumper. And look who's right behind him. He's a little further away, but Mr. Tier 3 over here, podium sitter yesterday, Beatnik, he's right there.
Here we go, 4-horse race in a turn 27. Penguin is going to go around the outside, side by side. None of them want to be the one left without DRS. Night Owl, is he going to be? Yes, he is again. Penguin with the DRS. 2x2 action. Ferrari on the inside. Now, Josh squabbling around. Josh moving around. Josh trying to get 3 and 1. And Josh, who's behind Penguin, will get 2 of them.
That was very scary.
A lot of fair action right there, but that was very dicey.
That was very scary when Josh went through and hit the back of Torn Penguin. His car jerked left, and he almost took out his teammate. That had to have been centimeters.
Biscuit couldn't get this place here with 11th, but Timbed got, I think, the pair of them. Lero Fusion down another place as he, I think, just joined back and then left again.
Oh my god.
That's his 3rd time. And a lot of contact here down in 16th. Isha and Mythic. Isha will be in that car next game. Mythic.
Well, we know how
will
Mythic
be transferring to the Red Bull Academy when Aston departs from the Mercedes Academy.
We know how Mythic feels about Ferrari Academy drivers, so it's a
little... Oh! Biscuit kept it straight, but smacks the wall after.
After he's side by side with Jackster now with Wavy Knife right behind him.
Yeah, it's fair to say, though, what you were saying with Mythic. Not the best of friends with Ferrari Academy drivers, and, well, we'll see that on full display. Oh, Blonde! Wow! Hit the back of Josh right there, but kept it going. Unbelievable, these drivers having the car control tonight to keep their cars going in a straight direction. And look at Night Owl. He's getting racy around the outside. Blonde almost tagged Josh. Blonde gets the place back. Night Owl has to yield right there, and he does. Look at who's in this train. Beatnik. Penguin finally pits.
Penguin finally goes in. He's going to have the tire advantage, but he is going to lose so much track position as we have a car off, and that's Mythic. Major damage.
Blonde and Night Owl for 3rd place now on the track. Look at this, side by side to turn 4, major contact as Night Owl tried to back off right there. And I must say, you spoke about Josh being right there, but the advantage should really go to Beatnik. He doesn't have a penalty. However, if Josh gets out of this DRS train, advantage to Beatnik, but Race Dainty, disadvantage, penalty to his name.
That's huge. That's huge. And I'm just looking through the warnings and penalties right now. The only person in this top, like 6 or 7 that does not have a warning, you want to take a guess?
Jack Miles.
Beatnik.
Wow. Beatnik keeping it within the track limits and realizing how vital it is in this scenario, trying for a win once again in Tier 2. His last coming in Season 11, but he also has had a season finale win in RPL Tier 2. Remember that teamwork with Valkyrie in Brazil 7 seasons ago? Yeah, that would be a season finale win for Beatnik, repeating itself with history looking to do the same thing again.
Yeah. Just look
Reese Dainty, though, has not pulled that gap on Josh, and he's coming in. Reese Dainty's in.
Reese Dainty's finally in. He's going to go onto that medium tire, and he's going to have a little bit of advantage on his teammate, Torn Penguin, obviously on the worst tire as...
Who the hell?
I was just about to ask, but I'm not going to anymore. Anyways,
Tanner Alkin.
Tanner Alkin. If anyone knows who Tanner Alkin is, please let us know. But, yeah, I was looking through. Josh had a little bit of a swirl there. But looking through, Josh obviously has his penalty. Night Owl has a warning. So does Blonde. Fusion in the pits, retires.
He tried to take control, and the car is gone out on the track. That's a shame for Leo Fusion. Not the way he would have wanted this race to end. Cryptic gets another penalty. And if I had to wonder who that guy was who just joined, I'm going to guess that was the guy who assassinated George Up Williams.
You know, possibly. It's very possible. I wouldn't be surprised.
All jokes aside, I do hope George is okay.
Yeah, of course, of course. But,
Top 6 in the fight, Polish. And you know what? Zakaria is not in a bad spot either here because he can pit right with Blonde and Night Owl. And if there is a safety car, he can come through the pack just with Reese and Penguin, as well as Night Owl and Blonde when they choose to pit as well.
Absolutely, and obviously this doesn't mean anything right now because, you know, Night Owl still does have to pit. But just because I'm feeling fun right now, if the results ended right now, Reese Dandy and Torn Penguin would have no points. Ferrari would have 37. We'd be tied because obviously Josh's penalty. Just to be a little fun.
Night Owl breezing back past his teammate and taking the
lead of
the race. Blonde racing Beatnik. Oh. Blonde loses control. Blonde somehow may get this place back once again. Side by side to turn 4. He concedes it. Blonde, good save. Another good save in this race to catch our eye on. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And you know what? They've not lost DRS to our Ferraris out in front.
No, they have not. And now look who our net leader is now, Beatnik. He was saying in one of our chats the other day, Ryan, he wants a win. He has been looking for a win for some time now. Today might be the day.
His last win, folks. Season 11 Austria. If I'm correct. I would just want to make sure.
But
regardless,
I don't think that was on this game cycle, was it?
That was not. That was on last game cycle.
So he does not have a win in F1 24. And what a story it would be if he finally breaks the ice in the final race. That would be something.
Yep. Beatnik. February 9th. Austria. The same season we ran Saudi Arabia, it was 2 weeks after that race, where he also had a podium as well. Mythic with a pen.
Beatnik is always on the podium. It seems like he's always in the fight, but just can't get it done. As Blonde goes in.
Blonde electing to go in.
Zakaria.
Josh regains the lead over Night Owl on lap 16. Josh, he is not praying for a safety car. Night Owl is. So this is a situation here at Ferrari. Do you want to put yourself in this scenario to end up getting one of the cars to victory? Or do you want both cars to do so? If you're going to want both cars to do so, it's going to be a tricky, treacherous area to try to figure out how this will be done. Zakaria boxed as well. He'll come out maybe side by side with Rolly. He'll be ahead of Rolly. He'll get the place there. But Ferrari is in a really tricky spot here.
It's really tricky. You don't really know what you want. If I had to guess, you probably don't want a safety car, because if you get a safety car, Jackson gets a penalty. If you get a safety car, then Josh is going to have...
Penguin!
Ooh. Now both Red Bulls have a penalty. That's huge.
But the good thing for Red Bull is they have a car in the points. Even if Ferrari were 1-2, Red Bull, I think at a bare minimum at that point, not without ties, I think they'd have to finish with probably 7 points. That'd be what? P7 with fastest lap, maybe? So it's a tricky scenario, but they're trying to navigate. Hold on, they're trying to navigate Night Owl here. Here we go. Jack going through. Beatnik not making it 3 abreast here, but I think he wants to follow Jack. He didn't want to be the first car in line either. So Beatnik will go the long way around and try to follow Jack. Night Owl gives up the places, and now Night Owl, our latest driver to come to the pit lane, our last one to blink. Can't have any mistakes here. All he wants to do in this race is just to get 4th or better, but it's going to be a tough task now at this stage.
It's definitely going to be a tough task, but I think he can do it as long as he just keeps it going. He's going to come out, I believe he's going to come out 11th behind Torn Penguin.
Further back behind that.
You reckon? I mean,
12th.
oh yeah, 12th, yeah.
13th.
He might even be behind Zakaria, yeah. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but I think
got undercut. Simple as that. Wavy knife. Side by side with Jackster. Wavy knife. Off. Jackster smashes the wall. Big collision there between the pair battling. And you know who gets the advantage? Red Bull, Night Owl, Blonde, and Zakaria.
That's huge.
Wavy knife. Massive, massive incident. Massive damage to the Aston as well. Penalty.
There's a penalty for Wavy Knife, and that was a huge moment because now Red Bull does have a lock on the Constructors title. As things stand, Josh has pulled out a 2-second gap over Beatnik, who has overtaken Jack Miles for second.
I think we're going to end up with some very wacky results right now. Even though Jack and Cryptic will be DQ'd, Reese Dainty going through. Reese Dainty stuck behind Timbed, but not any longer. And I have to think Timbed's in a great spot here too. Cryptic gets DQ'd, Jack gets DQ'd, Biscuit has a 3-second, so...
I think he's on for a podium.
Maybe. He just needs to follow suit with Reese. The problem is, though, he's not on the fresh rubber like Reese, Penguin, and the others are. That Penguin penalty, I gotta think that's gonna hamper him, even with him being on hards. Wavy Knife with that collateral damage, trying to hang on, but can't no longer.
As Blonde gets the fastest lap. I just don't see a world where Penguin's able to, like, that's 16 seconds until they get up to Josh, and they still have to get through.
What happened to Reese?
I don't know. Reese
was ahead of Timbed, and whatever happened, he's behind Blonde and Penguin now as well. I'm gonna look into this. Cryptic with another pen, but remember, he's going to be DQ'd after Sim with Jack Miles, so our net driver on the podium technically is Biscuit.
Yeah, must have had a moment.
For a first.
Like I was saying earlier,
Reese had a screen freeze! Again, the same thing as Imola!
Yep, that'll do it.
Oh my days. That sucks for Reese. That really does.
Absolutely does, and I'm trying to, like, figure out... 16 seconds is a tall ask for Torn Penguin to catch up to Josh. I think Josh is in the right spot here.
But you know what? Reese Dainty was very lucky and fortunate to have that screen freeze in a straightaway rather than a corner. Now they're trying to navigate by Timbed. Penguin through. Blonde following suit. Blonde on the button. Blonde also gets it. Now Night Owl gets by Reese. Reese put vulnerable there. Blonde and Timbed, remember, they don't have penalties here, so in this situation, they're trying to catch Biscuit. And with that being said, they could be on for a podium. Blonde are on the outside with fastest lap. Now Night Owl gets the credit. Blonde going through. Now, look at Timbed moving around in that braking zone. Nothing made from it. And Beatnik's almost out of that 3-second gap.
Yeah, Beatnik has stayed about the same distance away from Josh. I think they have pretty similar pace.
Oh! Jackster! Major loosey-goosey moment from the Haas driver. We're going to go side-by-side again in turn 4 where he collided with Wavy, but we avoid that because Rolly backed out.
This is not over yet. Night Owl gets through on Timbed. This is definitely not over yet. There is still a possibility for late safety car drama. Because we're getting racy here.
We are, and I'm surprised we've not had more accidents than we already had. I mean, you would think the Wavy incident with Jackster could have been a safety car, or even a VSC, but it didn't. And Bartu, speaking of incidents, well, he's had another incident with EA. Can't take control. Timbed got overtaken, and now gets passed by Zakaria. Zakaria, side by side here with Timbed.
Oh, boy.
Wheel banging! Side by side here with the pair of them. They keep it alive. Zakaria powers past, and Biscuit got overtaken by Cryptic as well. That yellow flag there was for Mythic with more damage to the car.
That yellow flag was Rolly, actually, in 13th place. He was slow. Might have possibly been a little contact with the Haas, if you will. But look at this gap between Beatnik and Josh. It has come down. 1.5 seconds now.
Yeah, that is definitely a different scenario compared to prior. Timbed snuck a peek there on Zakaria. Didn't make anything of it. But yeah, look at a few laps ago the way things were with Beatnik and Josh. The gap, 2 seconds, looked to be almost 3 seconds. Now Beatnik bringing that gap down, and I think that first sector is where he wins out, because that straight line speed for Ferrari in that second and third sector, I have to think, is just so powerful that Beatnik only has the help of the DRS train to assist him to Josh. Now that first sector is a big help for Beatnik because he's a wheel driver. Wheel drivers benefit from that first sector. Drivers like Reese Dainty also get the help of that as well, so you gotta keep that in the back of your mind in terms of this fight. But Blonde has caught up to these two battling, Cryptic and Biscuit, and that means Blonde is on the net podium because Jack and Cryptic obviously DQ'd after, and Biscuit has that penalty.
I'm trying to think now. Since we have a moment's peace, I want to think. I'm not crazy for thinking that this constructors battle is not over. Reese could easily have another screen freeze or have something happen, and he
Correct.
has Sicaria behind him. He's losing out to Sicaria, and he's losing out to Timbed right now. So he's actually out of...
Cryptic with a lunge, Cryptic with a lunge, Cryptic through, and Jack now back through on Beatnik for second place. You're not wrong about that, but Ferrari need a car to win this race. They cannot settle for second and third. However, a three-horse race into turn one, Biscuit gets through, Blonde almost slammed the back of Biscuit, and he's now going to go in the side of Cryptic. Contact, Cryptic just barely avoids the wall.
I'm surprised how racy Cryptic has been in this race, considering he is getting DSQ'd after this race.
I mean, you're not wrong, though, about the Ferrari situation, by the way, because if Night Owl does find monstrous pace, I mean, he can get there and manage a 1-3 maybe, but I think the problem here is he needs Red Bull to have a double DNF, and Torn Penguin with a lunge up the inside at the bank corner with a wonderful overtake.
That was a great overtake on Cryptic.
Yeah, I think the scenario Josh needs for Ferrari, and same with Night Owl, if there's going to be a double DNF for Red Bull in this sense, it has to come in the last few laps when the safety car window is out.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to look at, but right now, Jack Miles has gotten through on Beatnik. I think we mentioned that before, but right now, Beatnik is in net lead.
Holy cow. Just watching those cars just send it through turn 22 and not hit trouble is incredible. And that was Biscuit who had that. Blonde. Capitalizing maybe on the error, but Biscuit swoops in front. Jack Miles overtaken by Beatnik. And remember, Beatnik, 1.4 seconds drift on for a first win
Torn Penguin
in
right here.
5
He's going to make
seasons.
a
3 abreast. Penguin looking to power pass not just one, but by 2. Penguin gets it. Night Owl fighting with Cryptic once again now. Night Owl with a squeeze. Cryptic kept his nose in there, and Night Owl shuts the door.
It's hard to take your eyes off this battle for, like, what? This would be a podium right here, I think, with Jack Miles.
And none of them are going to be in contention for the win. This is just Beatnik and Josh's race. This is it.
Pretty much, yeah. The only
scenario they lose out on Polish is a puncture.
Yes.
Or crash.
Yes, of course. And the only... I think the person... I'm trying to do my math right now, but the person in that podium position right now is Blonde, correct? Would be third?
Yeah, Blonde is net podium right now with that being
I think
said.
the only person that can really overtake him is Night Owl, but he has to get by both Biscuit and Dainty first.
And this is all assuming that these drivers who have penalties do not get them appealed, and I don't think they could really in that sense.
No, I do not believe that they will.
We'll keep a penalty check here on the side of your screen, folks. But Jack Miles in the slipstream of Beatnik in the wake of what would be dirty air, but trying to go past now, and he will. Reese now getting Biscuit. Reese picking off another one, and he does. Jack Miles gets second place back, and remember, he will not be counted in second place right now. Second place would go to Beatnik, but with that 3-second Josh has, it would be Beatnik's victory. Behind these guys trying to navigate bar 2. Night Owl almost smashed into the back of Reese, but looks to do a little crossover move on Biscuit. Biscuit, it smacks the wall. Night Owl gets the overtake done.
Does get it done, and now he is right where he wants to be. He needs to get by Reese Dainty. He needs to try and get the Blonde right here.
Look at these drivers in second and third. Jack Miles and Beatnik. Beatnik recovering some energy. Cryptic with another one. Josh just cruising away. He's got a lot of battery. And he might be able to use a bit of this to settle the difference with that 3-second. This gap could go over 3 seconds. It might be decided by that with the finish.
It's close, but what helps Beatnik is he is behind Jack Miles. He is getting Jack Miles' DRS right now, and that's going to keep him right within that 2-second. But right now we're sitting at... Beatnik has 0 warning still. If he makes a mistake, this is Josh's race. Beatnik has to go the next 2 laps mistake-free. And if he does that, this is Beatnik's first win on F124.
And also his first win in 420 nice days right there for the
Is it actually 420?
Nevada native.
That's great.
Yes, it is.
That's funny.
I had to check it.
I'll have to make that joke.
By the way, if Night Owl does, Beatnik gets back past, I was just going to say, if Night Owl does finish P5 with fastest lap like he's got, He ties Jack Miles for that record for most points in a single season. Here we go down the main straight. With 2 to go, dicing it out. Reese Dainty now the one leading the DRS train. Blonde down in 5th on track, and Biscuit lags out.
Ooh, that's big. He was in that train right there.
So Night Owl can kind of get a little comfortable here, being the 7th place car, last car in the train, and kind of make something out of nothing with that being said, because Blonde is in 5th. This is technically the net podium, remember, folks.
This is net podium right here. This is pretty much a battle between Blonde and Night Owl right here, barring if those Red Bulls can get those penalties removed. Obviously, with Jack Miles getting DSQ'd after this race. Obviously, I want to look at this battle for the podium, but I'm also curious on this battle for the win right here. Beatnik has caught Josh by a few tenths that lap.
Wavy Knife trying to get by Isha, by the way. This is for 13th. No Haas will get points as of right now, so they might be the only team right now going to end up scoreless. We're about to enter the final lap. Isha with a pen. And I must also say, Haas also the only team not to have a single point in a different RPL season as well. Season 3, they had this happen too.
I just want to mention Jexta will end up getting points because Jack and Cryptic are both going to be DSQ. So he will get 10th as things stand. But here we go.
Final lap of the season. Final lap of the race. Beatnik is edging closer to Josh. Jack Miles, eager to get by. Beatnik lets him pass. And now, Blonde breezing by Reese. Penguin following suit, and Penguin cuts off Night Owl. Oh, he's so lucky to get away with that. I don't know how Night Owl doesn't have damage on that front wing. No end plate flying off there, but Blonde gets 4th. And Red Bull right now, with this finish, 5th and 6th on this track, would secure the Constructors' title.
Josh is dumping everything he has. He is trying to get that gap to Beatnik, but I don't know how it's going to work because Beatnik is going to have Jack Miles' DRS right here.
The problem is Mythic, who's a lap car right here, is going to allow Josh to have 1 dose of DRS right here.
This is going to be close.
Look at this detection point right here. DRS for Josh, but Josh made a mistake.
This is going to be really close here. If Beatnik makes a mistake, this is Josh's race to lose.
Look at this. Josh on his return. Called up to race for Ferrari to help salvage a Constructors' title potentially. And right now, he's going to look to return to get onto the podium, but he wants to win on track. 2nd place on the track could become the victory. Here comes Beatnik. In his return to racing in Tier 2. He's not raced in winning contention for 420 days in this tier. His last win came in Austria. Beatnik is going to get the first win for his name on F124. Beatnik wins in Saudi Arabia. And to the line, they're wiggling. Finish on the podium for Blonde at the end. Night Owl got 4th. And Torn Penguin with Reese Dainty manage a 5th and 6th place. Red Bull,
that is enough.
For the 14th time, are Constructors champions.
Wow.
But Beatnik, welcome back to Tier 2 winning ways, my friend. A 3rd win in RPL Tier 2. His first under the lights in Saudi Arabia. How about that at the end? Josh 433 managed a podium on his return.
Invade, what is Invade doing?
I saw that.
Beatnik, yo, finally, Beatnik gets a win. Oh, it feels good. It feels good.
Beatnik, as you see, Jack Miles will be disqualified. Beatnik wins the race.
And Night Owl's not happy because he feels like he got brake checked by Penguin. That's going to be interesting. Yeah. So
Penguin slammed the door.
Penguin definitely slammed the door, but right now Red Bull is Constructors champions. We're going to see what the stewards report looks like after the race, but it would have to be some major penalties for Red Bull to lose it at this rate.
Beatnik celebrates again on the top step of the Tier 2 podium. His first win since February of 2024. He raced Tier 3 for the past 2 seasons and did not manage a victory. But tonight, Mercedes get their 2nd win of the season. And we'll give him a little interview. Why not?
Why not?
It's been a while since we did a post-race interview with a winner.
He finally won something.
I'm gonna give Beatnik my driver of the day as well.
Beatnik, my goat.
There
Actually,
you go, your full results. Beatnik with the win. Josh second. Blonde third. Blonde back on the podium, by the way. This is a major result.
I'm gonna drive to the Blonde just because I can.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give it to Beatnik. Night Owl fourth. Penguin fifth. Reese sixth. Red Bull Constructors champions again. Zakaria in seventh. Biscuit lagged out but managed eighth. Timbed ninth. And Jackster for Haas.
Haas
giving
got a
them
point.
their only and
Let's
first
go.
point of the season. How about that? We lost from this race, Lyral Fusion and Hyper at the end.
You would
A
think
shame for McLaren.
you would think it'd be Sauber wait until the last race to get their points, but Haas finally got a point.
So, Beatnik, you managed to race Tier 3 these last 2 seasons and not win. You came close a lot. You come to Tier 2, and you do it here? Congrats, but how did you do it?
First of all, thank you. Second of all, I genuinely don't know how I've done that. I was sweating so hard those last 6 laps, and battling with Jack only made it worse. I thought it was gonna cost me the win on the last lap when he sent it. I just wanted to be really cautious because I know he's getting disqualified, so I just wanted to stay within that 3 second, and I did. I don't know how I done it.
I just want to mention real quick, Beatnik, congrats on no warnings at Saudi Arabia. That's pretty impressive, I must say.
Yeah.
I had no warnings?
Yeah, you had no warnings. I checked.
I thought I got on the first lap because it was a
Nope,
bit
you didn't get any.
chaotic. Oh my goodness. Masterclass, I guess.
So how do you win Tier 3 and not Tier 2? Or how do you win Tier 2 and not Tier 3? Answer me that question.
Tier 3 is Calamity, and Tier 2 is slightly less Calamity.
That's
I
a
think that's
fair
the big
answer.
part.
Thank you.
Wow. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I mean, the strategy worked out in the end, which was a nice thing. I was in a party with Reese and Penguin, and they said stay out, and I'm just like, I don't think that's the right call. So I followed Fusion and Josh into the pits, and I'm glad that was the right call in the end.
I'm glad you made your own call and didn't listen to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say besides the fact that, of course, when you come back to winning ways, you got to win in Tier 2 and not Tier 3. That is so weird.
Yeah, I mean, I came back to this game in November not expecting much. My main goal was to get that Tier 3 win, and then I win in Tier 2. Make it make sense.
Yeah, I mean, Mintoki will be happy with that one, knowing her teammate won
Mitoki is
this
gonna
season.
love her teammate next season.
Yes, that will be awesome to see. Well, congrats, I must say. By the way, on the 420 Eastern mark, I must tell you, your last win came 420 days ago. I just want to let you...
That's
cope
a
with
very
that
good
for now.
number. That's a very good number.
Beatnik, do you dabble in the 420? That's the
For legal reasons, no. I can answer
but-
that
I know when you went to
question in
Las
about
Vegas,
3
you-
weeks when I turn 21.
Ah, I see.
There you
But I will say, 2 first-time winners on you know what I mean, like first-time game cycle winners. I guess
On the
you
game
could
cycle,
say.
yeah.
Yeah. So, do we get that same thing in Tier 1 tomorrow? That's the question.
I don't know. I think there's a good chance.
I don't know who
No.
hasn't won a game on this game cycle, but
No.
There is a good chance. No, JTK. He's not won in Tier 1 this game. He's won this game in Tier 2, but still. KVS.
a KVS.
There's still a
there
good
you go.
chance.
KVS could get one.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in George Masterclass, so...
Okay.
I will say, you ruined the Ferrari weekend sweep, so I'm kind of mad at you.
But there still can be a US weekend sweep.
That is
Skidder tomorrow,
true!
maybe.
Oh, yes! Wait, who's from the US in Tier 1? I need to know this.
Skidder and Cookie.
Okay, Skidder and Cookie. Skidder and Cookie, if you're listening to this, you have to win. Make America
There you
great
go.
again.
Okay.
Oh dear.
we are not promoting political slogans on this stream, but that's okay.
Hey,
I know what you meant.
you know.
How about make America fast again?
Ah, there you go.
There you go. Either way, congratulations, Beatnik. Well deserved.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, one last time in this game cycle with F124 in Tier 2. Red Bull managed the Constructors' Championship. Night Owl, finishing fourth, manages the most points in a single Tier 2 season. How you gonna look back on this tier, Polish, with F124 and the way things went here for this game cycle in Tier 2?
Well, it was fun. We had a lot of crazy moments, a lot of crazy battles. People like to crap on F124 and think it's not a great game, but I will say it has provided us with some amazing battles in this game. And
I agree.
obviously, we've had moments of, during moments and like a lot of Stewart reports, but at the end of the day, it was fun. I enjoyed every race that I commentated on and every race I was a part of. So I think it was a lot of fun.
I also have to credit Tier 2 this season because we went almost half the races without a clip submitted.
That is true. F2 has probably been the clean or F2. Oh my God.
Tier 2.
RIP F2. Tier 2
Yeah, for real.
has been the cleanest tier for sure.
Yeah, agreed. Well, it has been a blast, Polish, these last 7 seasons commentating Tier 2. I'm definitely going to miss it, but I have to say, I really hope whenever we sort things for next game and whatnot, I do pass the torch to you. I really do, because it has been a blast. You faded, Beatnik at times, Titan at times in this tier. It's definitely been a blast. And this is technically the tier I started off with. I remember I made my debut in this tier.
I made my
season
debut
9,
in this tier
Japan. There you go. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, season 9, Tier 2 Japan. That race, 0-1.
Yep.
Dep Knights was on pole in the Aston Martin. I remember that. That was a fun race to commentate. And it has been a pleasure commentating this tier for the last 7 seasons on and off, for sure.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure commentating with you, and hopefully I'll be able to take over this tier. And I think Beatnik said he was going to try and do Tier 3 next season.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm sure Titan will keep doing Tier 1. So I think there's a lot of
I'm sure.
there's a lot of good commentators. I hope you have a good season next season. Hopefully it's not all for nothing.
I know. Well, I'm sure as well, like, I know Luke, George, Jack, all them, even Owen sometimes, I'm sure they'll take over when you guys miss a race or whatever, but I mean, we'll figure out who's doing what next season. But
Yeah, of course.
yeah, last 7 seasons in Tier 2, I've definitely been blessed with a lot. I mean, technically, if you include this season, it's been 8. So, I mean, with everything going on, I have to thank you guys, especially the viewers as well. One more time tomorrow for Tier 1, and one more time for this game cycle as well, with that being said. So it should be a ton of fun. I mean, this tier, it's had its moments at times, we know that, but the action, nonstop, it's unbelievable to watch. It's really cracking stuff. Each week, you don't know what you're going to be provided with, and with Jack Miles as lobby host, we're not going to be provided with Abu Dhabi until tomorrow. So, yeah, that'll be fun to do tomorrow, of course.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
That was a lot of fun.
I must say, was. Any final thoughts before tomorrow in Abu Dhabi?
It's gonna be bittersweet. I'm gonna miss this game a little bit. We've had some good battles. Why are we readied up? I'm not. No. Getting out of this whole thing.
Glad I got out of there in time.
I had a lot of fun commentating this tier with you. I'm sure you and Titan will do great tomorrow. If George Alp Williams is there and alive, please contact us. Just to know that you're alive. But
Yes.
yeah, so it was fun, and I can't wait to do it again next season.
I hear you.
And for the off-season
So,
races.
folks, yes, absolutely. I can't forget about that, folks. Yeah, we have that, off-season races. And then once we go through that, we'll be racing in Tier 2 on F125 for Season 17 of Tier 2. The 21st different season of this tier, our 17th under the Tier 2 banner.
There you go.
One more time, tomorrow in Abu Dhabi, folks. Make sure you tune in for the action there once again tomorrow. And for the last 7 seasons of Tier 2, Ryan Searles signing off, folks. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow for one last time in this game cycle on F124. And thank you, RPL, for letting me do Tier 2 since Season 9. Until next time, good night and goodbye.